4:30. So we have about, I think, 5 or 6 minutes more for some questions. If anyone has questions for Alexandra. Yes, Tisha.
Thank you so much, Alexandra, for sharing your story. And I agree with you. While self-esteem wasn't a real issue for me when I was younger, we can tend to give that away to other people. And so I just thank you for reminding us to take care of ourselves first, to use those things that we may see as negative in our lives, like you said, as our ally. And I just wanted to thank you for being here and let you know how much I appreciate you sharing your experiences and also your successes with us.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate you very much. Thank you.
And I have a question. Alexandra, so what's your main focus now? Are you focused on the nursing, on the finance, or the real estate?
I do everything.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wow.
So Alexandra, it's Lisa Baker again. Thank you so much for what you shared. And as I was listening to you and all of the different things you do, it reminded me of something that people, would say to me is like, well, how do these things relate? How do you do all of that? And so I'm just curious what, kind of was the impetus for you in following these various paths and how you bring it all together and really see them as part of the whole of what you do.
I just think that it makes me understand the real world better from all these different perspectives, because again, as a musician for 26 years, I was very shielded from the real world and I didn't realize it because I had a master's doctoral degree in classical violin from Louisiana State University. When you're so educated, you really think you know everything until you hit rock bottom in your life, professionally and personally, and you realize you don't know anything about the real world. So you either get crushed by that or you figure, I better learn something about the real world from many different perspectives, because if I don't do this now, I will have great regrets 30 years from now.
That's awesome. Well, it's very admirable what you have been able to accomplish. So kudos to you. Well done.
Thank you, Lisa. And I loved your presentation. Thank you very much for sharing your experience with us.
You're welcome.
Anyone else with a question? Well, thank you so much, Alexandra, for showing us that nothing is impossible. Absolutely nothing is impossible when you are motivated and inspired. You don't absolutely have to have your back against the wall. Sometimes you have to have your back against the wall to propel you into doing something different, but nothing is impossible. I wish you all the best on your journey ahead.
No, thank you. And I'm sorry I couldn't join before. I joined like an hour and a half ago. I wish I could join a little earlier, but had another errand thing to attend to, but I'll stay till the end of your show today.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Well, Elizabeth, you would like to introduce Tisha, or?
Sure. Let me just find myself in a minute. Okay, great. So LeTisha met me a couple of months ago, and we talked a lot. We hit it, like you just connect with someone. And she's written a book that kind of was hard for me to fit with our group, given that we're a business group and we work on business issues. But then as I got to know her, and I followed her on Instagram and Facebook, and she's quite the celebrity. She's been on a lot of podcasts and in the media quite a lot. And as I followed her, I realized that she had a mission, and it was a powerful message that she was trying to communicate. And I thought this is where it fits right in with what we're doing, which is women respecting women. How many times have we heard that someone got fired on a job because of gossip? People stand in an office area and they gossip, and half of it is a bunch of, nothing. And a thing goes on and somebody just gets fired. And usually it's women talking about women. Or how many times are you in business and no one wants to buy from you because you're a woman? And how many, and we heard about Shakespeare and, you know, possibility that it was a woman, and all the things that women have to go through. And how many times have you been in a bar at a conference and there's all men, and, you know, if you sit in a bar, people look at you funny, like, you know, are you hitting on me? You know, I mean, women have so much, and we've come a long, long way. And so I felt like LeTisha has a special message: women respecting women. And I thought that that's where it fits with my group. And so I'm so proud and pleased to have her. We had her in December, and she's been so busy, and she's given us so much time today. So, and we're having a very high level event, a sponsored event after her. So please stay on with Dina. So this is a big conversation about the war and Ukraine as well, and Bosnian war. So stay tuned. But first, a very important message for every woman: you must respect another woman. So go ahead, tell us about it.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for that wonderful introduction. And thank you to everyone who has spoken before and will speak after. I'm just honored to be here, especially among my sisters who are across the industries doing so much to help lift women up. Like Lisa said, I'm an emotional person too, so I'm really proud to be here. So again, my name is LeTisha Jackson, and I am the author of the recently released memoir, Woman to Woman: Letters from Wives to Mistresses. You know, Alexandra spoke about self-esteem. I didn't quite have that issue when I was younger. My life in front of the camera on stage kind of started at the age of 17 with a dare from a friend to do a local beauty pageant. I grew up in Detroit, and I did that first pageant and I got bit. I got first runner-up in my first pageant. I got Miss Congeniality, and would go on to do other pageants and modeling. And what I remember from those times, 17, 18, 19 years old, and I'm 49 now, is the loyalty that me and the other girls had toward one another. Not once in the pageants that me and kind of this core group of girls did together, not once did I ever hear another girl say something negative about another girl in the pageant. We had concerns, maybe if a friend, we could see maybe she was struggling with an eating disorder, but even then, excuse me, we would speak to her face out of love. And to this day on social media, those girlfriends that I did those pageants with at 17, 18, and 19 are still my friends. So again, what I took from that is we had a real sisterhood. We had a real loyalty towards one another. My self-esteem didn't take a dive until I moved to California in my 20s. I was still pursuing acting, still pursuing modeling. Things were going great. And then boom, I fell in love. Fell in love with what I call in my book, my California stranger. And I did what all too many women do, and that is I stopped living my life to become subsumed in his life. All of my dreams and goals just started to get put to the side because my every day, my every waking moment became about him. And, you know, I worked, of course, and of course, worked even more to help, you know, him get a job, to, you know, what we call upgrade them, you know, lift them up, make them a better man. That's kind of seems to be, especially in the Black culture, what women do for our men, whatever it takes to help them succeed. And so 7 years we were together, and then we finally got married. And towards the end, at about 4.5 years, his mistress called me. I kind of had a feeling, you know, we have that instinct, we have that intuition, we know something's not quite right. We even really know what it is, right? We know that they're being unfaithful, but we feel that guilt. If we don't have tangible proof, we have 100% proof, we're not going to leave. But she called me and let me know that she had been having an affair with my husband for a year. He had since moved out of the house where he left me with his parents. And, told me he was living with a friend up in LA. He needed some time away, and come to find out he was living with her right around the corner. And one day, as you're reading the book, one day I saw a car that he and I had recently bought together. I saw it sitting in a driveway, and I wasn't 100% sure of his hours. I didn't want it to be ours, but it turned out to be ours. And so I kind of sat there and watched for a while. And when I saw him leave, I found myself knocking at her door, or knocking at this door, wanting to find out what was going on. And making that long story short, what led to me writing Woman to Woman, Letters from Wives to Mistresses, the title Woman to Woman is not happenstance. Those are actually 3 words that his mistress said to me. She said, woman to woman, I want you to know. And you'll have to read the book because it's a really big reveal what she said to me following those words. Words that I would have expected maybe to be followed by some words of sympathy, empathy, remorse. You too will be absolutely shocked when you read what she followed those words with, and will let you know why this book is so necessary. Because today we see a lot of movements. We see fleeting movements. We see hashtags. We're in a day where women call each other sis, sister, or queen. I'm sorry, I'm not about those things. If behind the scenes, you think that it's okay in any measure to help tear apart another woman's family, to devastate really one of your sisters because of your own selfishness, it's not okay. Woman to Woman does take a brave step, because I'm saying it, I blame her. Get a lot of kickback from women. What do you mean you blame her? It was your husband who had the vow of loyalty and faithfulness. Absolutely, he did. But Woman to Woman, I wrote for us, for women only. Let them write their own book, the guys. It was time for us ladies to talk about why still in this day, when we need each other more than ever, why, when it comes to the want of a man, the face of sisterhood that we hold up for the world to see crumbles, and it crumbles hard. Most of us want one thing, a family. And women will fight tooth and nail from the depths of their soul to keep their family together. We want all women to respect our marriage. But when we take on the role of a mistress, we can't even respect one woman's marriage. I had to write Woman to Woman because, we've seen it's always been taboo to blame the mistress, always. And believe me, I still get emails with women that are furious that I am blaming the other woman. And that's because they don't understand or haven't read the book yet to know that we're going to deal with the husband. We're going to deal with him. But can we finally come together and talk about why we are so willing to do this to one another? It's destructive, and it is a betrayal, not only of our womanhood, but of our sisterhood as well. We need each other. I say in the book that we will protect each other's civil rights, we'll protect each other's reproductive rights, we'll protect each other's children. But when it comes to a man, we forget to protect each other's hearts. That matters. You can't call me your sis or your sister or queen if behind the scenes you think it's okay to sleep with my husband. It's more than respect. Our sisterhood is missing the fundamental quality of loyalty. And that's why one of my models is loyalty is key, because it is. Not only loyalty to our sisterhood, but loyalty to ourselves, because loyalty to ourselves comes with self-respect. And I can't imagine, you know, any woman feels a great deal of self-respect being any man's side piece, having a man's heart split down the middle, you know, between his wife and yourself. I just got an email 2 days ago from a woman who wanted to talk to me because she said that she was ashamed. She actually used the word disgusted because she was a mistress, and it ended just a couple of weeks ago. But I was so glad that she came to me, and she was able to do that because she sees that I'm not sitting in a place of judgment. Even though my book it does confront the mistress. The core of it, the foundation of it, really is to heal the fractures in our sisterhood, to change these negative dynamics, and heal our sisterhood, our worldwide sisterhood. But the only way to heal the fractures, and the only way to have these women willing to come to me and say, hey, I'm a mistress. How can I deal with these feelings I have for him and get back to being loyal to my sisterhood? How do I do that? So I was honored, and I'm always honored when these women email me, because the core of my book is about bringing us together, not in some superficial way, to be, you know, again, done away with a hashtag or just a movement. We have young girls that we continue to pass on these destructive behaviors to. You know, we talk about women in history, but today we're making history. Today, we are setting an example for these young girls to look up to. And each of us needs to ask ourselves, what type of history do we want to make for them in their future? They need this sisterhood, but it needs to be sustained through respect, and it needs to be sustained and reestablished with girl code, loyalty to that sisterhood. I do get a lot of kickback from women who say, loyalty, that seems a little much. Respect I can get, but loyalty. But I ask you, what relationship can be sustained without an element, excuse me, without an element of loyalty? We need one another, ladies. So I just ask you to ask yourself the question, do you want to be a positive asset in our sisterhood? Or do you want to continue to look out for yourself? Because I can guarantee you, you're going to need this sisterhood one day. And you'll have to deal with the fact that you weren't there for your sisterhood when it needed you. So let us continue to move forward, being loyal to one another. One of my favorite mottos is, I am my sister's keeper. So I'm simply asking you, will you be mine? Thank you all so much for having me today.
Wow. Thank you, Tisha, for reminding us that we are all mutually responsible and accountable to create a legacy for the next generation, a legacy of honesty, legacy of respect, legacy of loyalty for the next generation of women and men, I would say, because we owe it to our sons and daughters to do that.
May I, excuse me, may I
Sure, Lisa.
jump in and say something? First of all, phenomenal presentation, heartfelt. I applaud you, my sister, my queen. I stand with you. For me, what you just did is help explain something that frankly I've never understood. And that is, I've been in those shoes of being married and to someone who was unfaithful and having to confront the situation, but I've never understood why women confront the other woman. I always thought, well, it's the man who made the commitment to you, so why would you do that? But you have so eloquently explained why it makes sense. So thank you for that. But what I agree with wholeheartedly, and I have always said, is that there should be a code of honor, of loyalty, a system, an agreement among women, that if we would just get together and collectively say, no, I will personally not knowingly involve myself with anyone who is married to someone else. If we did that, that would immediately stop all affairs, because we have that thing that they need and want.
We have
And that
the
will put an
power.
end to it. And so
Yes.
I fully stand with you and agree with everything that you've said. And I now have just a small glimpse into why I immediately connect with you.
Thank you so much, sister. And all of you, if you'd like, you can get my book on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And my website is LeTishaJackson.com. You can get the book there as well. And thank you, Lisa. Yes, it's amazing. Even through virtuality, we can all connect at the heart. And you're right. We women, we have the power to change this dynamic. You actually said something that's in the book. It's real easy. Ending these affairs comes down to 2 letters in the English alphabet, in the American alphabet, and that is N-O. No, I will not do to another woman what I do not want done to me.
It's awesome. I have
Thank you,
purchased the
Lisa.
book. I can't wait to read it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. And thank you, Elizabeth, for inviting me back anytime. I think you're on mute, Elizabeth. There you go.
Yes, Elizabeth, you're muted.
So we're having we're talking women, all things women, and I think we accomplished a lot today. So I think over to our main speaker for the evening, our sponsor, and this is also a very powerful session. So please stay on. You're watching Brightside Global Trade. Please don't forget to subscribe, brightsideglobaltrade.org.